Hello, we're going to do this video with a concept that I call the mirror darkly, and kind of how it affects all of us. But since it relates to the video and it just happened, I did want to send out my condolences and, what little support I have for the shooting at the mosque in New Zealand that just happened as of recording this video. And it's actually quite personal to me. The history of my church has people, being shot down on the street for their religious beliefs and eventually driven out of the country. And so every time I hear about any sort of violence against any religion, it strikes a note, it strikes a chord, and makes it very personal to me. So one of the things that came about, okay, I will add this before I continue. I don't know the name of the shooter. I haven't watched the video, any part of the video, and I've only heard bits and pieces of the manifesto, and I would like to encourage pretty much anybody out there, don't find out this guy's name. Do not read or post his manifesto. Do not watch or post his video. He does not deserve that sort of recognition for what he did. And that's what he wants, is recognition. And he wants to divide people. I say, just don't give it to him. And that's going to be pretty much the end of it. So why I'm bringing it up, what I'm talking about, is that he referenced a conservative commentator named Candace Owens as one of the reasons he was radicalized, some of the statements she's made. Now, I'm not 100% familiar with all the stuff she's said or done, but, I'm relatively sure she never encouraged violence, and I think was probably horrified that her name was associated with such violence, as I think anybody would feel that sort of horror, that sort of terror at the idea that they could be associated with such violence. So, like I said, just don't. Yeah, just don't. It's a lovely house, isn't it? Just, yeah. Don't give that sort of recognition to the guy. I mean, really. Sorry, I'm feeling quite personal about the shooting. But a lot of people have given her a hard time over that and really condemned her for it. And I don't think she deserves that sort of condemnation. And I think why her name was listed as by this manifesto is this concept of what I call the mirror darkly. It's an idea that when we read something, we see ourselves reflected in what we read. Adolf Hitler did it with the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche. It's been around for quite a few years, and I actually personally experienced this the other day. I was talking on Twitter about about the possibility of a border wall between Mexico and the United States, and I was in support of that. And I'm not going to go into reasons why I support it. That would be a whole video in and of itself. But a lot of people don't support it, and and I accept that they may have different feelings or views on this than I do. But my Twitter, the image I use on Twitter is that of Jacob Fry from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And somebody made the comment that, the whole irony thing of this is that, you're supporting this viewpoint and you have Jacob Fry as your pitcher, and he would never support such a thing. And, I found this interesting because there's really nothing in the game that indicates whether, 150 years later he would support a policy of an American president. He's a Victorian, it takes place in London, he's Victorian era British guy. And, but the person who had played the game before, as I did, saw their own views and beliefs reflected in the character, which is actually is, the mark of a good character. You can relate to the character even if they don't express, a certain political view or ideology. You can still relate to them. And that's what we do when we read things. We imprint our own beliefs, our own ideas upon the characters, whether it's reading, whether it's seeing a character in a game or a movie or so on, where they don't express a specific belief. We imprint our own beliefs on them, and we believe that their beliefs are the same as our beliefs. And this is actually a natural and actually quite a healthy thing to do. It basically it helps us relate to the character, for one thing, and for another, it helps us to kind of establish our own views and beliefs. Now, can this be taken too far? Yes, it can. Very much so, that as the shooter demonstrated. And as a lot of people do demonstrate. So, it's kind of like this particular reflection. We can kind of see ourselves in the mirror, but it's, darkly. Or, put another way, it's not entirely clear or concise image. It's just kind of a dark image of ourselves seen in reflection. Not dark per se, but unclear image of ourselves, which is what they mean by darkly. And that's what we see in what we read. It's an interesting phenomenon. All humans do it. I pretty much assume, unless shown otherwise, that any character in a book, in a movie, is going to have my own belief system. And it can sometimes be a little shocking if they do something that's contrary to my belief system in a game. And, you get used to it. You just kind of go like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're not exactly my belief system. And in that regard, this might be a better mirror, because, yeah, you can kind of see 47 in the inside, but it's dark. You can't quite make it out. This is probably the better metaphor to show you for that. And like I said, it helps us relate to the characters, but it also helps us, define our own beliefs by applying the beliefs to other people. It's kind of an odd little thing when you think about it, but it is very true. And as such, it can go wrong, as with the shooter, and we really shouldn't blame the person who wrote that, because it's only in the shooter's mind that they related to it in that regard. And in the same way that we really shouldn't blame Nietzsche for Hitler's actions. They are responsible for their own actions. We shouldn't blame Candace Owens, or really anyone other than the shooter, for what the shooter did. And that's how it works. We see it through a glass darkly. So, anyway, that's my quick little take on the shooting. Just my condolences to all the stuff that those people at the church had to go through people at the mosque had to go through, and just, yeah, let's not give this guy any credit at all for what he did. Anyway, like and subscribe. We're looking out over beautiful New Zealand here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.